Howdy, folks. I am Alan for today's news. I will be reading and speaking about world news, interesting news, news to keep you entertained, and news to keep you informed. Put my camera over here a little bit. Okay, what I got for you right now is Vladimir Putin announces plans to deploy deadly warship with unstoppable hypersonic missiles against Ukraine. Vladimir Putin has announced his plans to deploy a new deadly warship armed with unstoppable hypersonic missiles against Ukraine come the new year. OnlineRadar.com has learned. The 70-year-old Russian leader made the startling announcement on Wednesday while addressing his defense chiefs during an end-of-year meeting to assess the Kremlin's ongoing war against Ukraine. According to Daily Star, matter of fact, I forgot to tell you what this is from Radar Online. According to Daily Star, Putin vowed to fulfill his military goal in Ukraine and also promised to provide his troops with everything they need to successfully take the neighboring nation, including included in his plans is the deployment of the Admiral Gorshko class frigate. The Russian warship has set to be launched next month and fitted with Zircon missiles, hypersonic missiles. Zircon hypersonic missiles. The Zircon missiles have reportedly been in development for at least 4 years and are able to strike a target 620 miles away at speeds of 7,000 miles per hour. Putin also claimed the soon-to-be deployed missiles can travel 5 times faster than the missiles being developed in the United States, and the Zircon missiles are also capable of nuclear destruction. There's a video here. I'm not going to play it. It says, Vladimir Putin says there will be no limits on Ukraine war spending. And I'll put a link in the description. You can watch the video later or read more about it too. This one here is from Tell Me Best. Why hundreds of hospitals are suddenly suing patients. Everyone dreads going to the hospital. On the surface, it means something serious has occurred in your life. But what makes a trip to the hospital even more nerve-wracking is the news that some hospitals are suing patients. The astronomical cost of medical bills is no secret. Most adults have gotten hit with at least one sizable bill. Perhaps you are still paying one off. Invoices that arrive after a stint in the hospital are even worse than the standard doctor or lab bills. The total at the bottom is rather jaw-dropping at times, and that fact has led to serious concerns over the shocking amount of medical debt plaguing Americans. However, as bad as that is, the situation gets even worse for some patients. Hospitals struggle to collect unpaid balances, so many have turned to shady collection practices. NPR took a deep dive into some of those collection tactics uncovered by a KHN investigation. That investigation found rampant use of aggressive and threatening hospital policies, pressuring patients to pay their debts. Some of those are tactics such as lawsuits, selling patient accounts to debt buyers, and reporting patients to credit rating agencies. And you can read more about this. Link being down in my description box. What I can't understand, though, you go to the hospital, you expect one bill from the hospital for everything, but you get a hospital from the lab, the doctors, the hospital, the technicians. It's a bunch of bull crap. Actually, is what it is. Okay, the next one I got for you is Schumer announces deal to begin voting on year-long government funding bill and amendments. After days of negotiation Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on Thursday announced that senators have reached an agreement to move forward and begin voting on a year-long $1.7 trillion government spending bill and amendments. We have an agreement now. We will vote on all the amendments in order and then vote on final passage. It's taken a while, but it is worth it, Schumer said on the Senate floor. Lawmakers are now racing against the clock to avert a shutdown at the end of the week. The expectation on Capitol Hill is that a shutdown will be avoided, but congressional leaders have little room for error, with government funding set to expire at the end of the day Friday. Once the Senate passed the bill, it will next need to go to the House to be approved before it can be sent to Joe Biden to be signed into law. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said Thursday he was optimistic that the Senate would finish the funding bill that day. We'll finish on the 22nd, as someone predicted a while back, McConnell said, referring to himself. And you can read about the rest of this in the description box. And see, this one here is from the New York Post. Taxpayers feel the pain of politicians' wasteful and absurd $1.7 trillion spending plan. Congress will soon vote on the 14,155-page omnibus bill that was crafted in a back room by half a dozen congressional leaders. No amendments will be permitted on the House or Senate floor, and members of Congress will get no time to read the bill before the rubber stamping $1.7 trillion plus in new spending. Here are a few gems for this no boondoggle left behind blunderbuss. Moments to me in the bill commemorate politicians generously with other people's money, including the Speaker Nancy Pelosi Federal Building in San Francisco and the Nancy Pelosi Fellowship Program for the State Department. Senator Patrick Leahy finagled his name onto the Patrick Leahy Lake Champlain Basin Program. Senator Richard Shelley, Republican, Alabama, also got his name on an FBI training faculty, even though almost everything in Alabama is already named after him, according to Scott Parkinson of the Club of Growth for Growth. $3.6 million for the Michelle Obama Trail in DeKalb, Georgia. Perhaps a 4-mile trail will be consolation prize for Michelle after her signature Let's Move campaign dismally failed to end childhood obesity. The omnibus bill authorized a chauffeur for the Commissioner of Internal Revenue, but there is no relief for taxpayers to get run over by IRS agents racing to meet quotas for seizing citizens' paychecks and bank accounts. The bill indicates an earmark of $2 million for the Office of New York City Mayor Eric Adams for improving conditions between social agencies to support children and family. Is a federal bribe necessary for local government agency to exchange emails? Now, this is a bunch of wasteful spending and money, and we taxpayer, we're paying for that. we need to rise up, put a stop to it. A hiking trail named after former First Lady Michelle Obama will also get funding from the bill. Getty Images for Live Nation. $2 billion is budgeted for the Gender Equality and for Equity and Equality Fund Action Fund, part of Biden's glorious rule-wide crusade for the rights of females. Will that program includes sending cards to the women of Afghanistan, or maybe all the money will be fizzled for zany projects like women's economic empowerment through gender-sensitive value chain inventions in Alabama. The bill grants Food and Drug Administration agents sweeping new power over cosmetics. How long until the FDA calls the shortage of lipstick and mascara like it did with infant formula? The bill provides massive subsidies to encourage a continuing tidal wave of illegal immigration while banning spending any funds to construct border fencing in certain areas, according to the Heritage Foundation. While sculpting and safeguarding the U.S. border, Congress is sending $410 million for enhanced border security to Jordan, Lebanon, Egypt, to Tunisia, I don't know how to say that, and Oman, according to Representative Donna Bishop. Okay, you can read about the rest of this in my link. There'll be a link in the description about it. This is just wasteful money spending. Joe Biden thinks it's his money, and he can do what he wants with it. And he's out of office, banned from any politician job. Okay, this is from the Motley Fool. How long does it take for electric cars to pay for themselves? Electric cars don't come cheap, at least not the popular ones, like the Tesla Model 3 and Y or the Ford F-150 Lightning. You can shell out less than $20,000 for a cheap electric vehicle with low mileage, but most folks like being able to drive more than 100 miles before filling the tank or charging the battery. So we compare popular gas cars to popular high-range electric vehicles. Electric vehicle cars can generally more expensive to purchase than gas counterparts. For example, a gas-powered 2022 Ford F-150 pickup two-wheel drive costs about $31,000, and an all-electric 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning four-wheel drive automatic A1 costs about $40,000 to purchase. Not cheap. However, electric cars are generally cheaper to operate. That's because EVs demand cheaper fuel and less maintenance than gas cars. So what's the better buy, electric or gasoline? It depends. How long do you intend to keep the car? The longer you drive it, the more time your EV has to lower your total cost of ownership. Even so, a $60,000 plus Model Y might never break even with a $20,000 Toyota Corolla. However, some EVs make up for their price premium by being cheaper to drive, and that way electric cars can pay for themselves. Ford F-150s pickup versus Ford F-150 Lightning. The Ford's F-Series is one of the best-selling series among American drivers. The lineup includes the gas-powered F-150 and the all-electric F-150 Lightning. Over 3 years, the F-150 Lightning costs about $3,000 less to own and operate than the traditional F-150, according to a rough analysis by Car and Driver. That doesn't consider a potential $7,500 EV tax credit, which would save drivers thousands more. And that's all I'm going to read on that. You can read the rest of it. The link will be down in my description box. I got a lot of reading. I'm trying to hurry up here. This is from Fox Business. Hundreds of workers leaving Tyson Foods as company closes offices report. Hundreds of employees at Tyson Foods have decided not to relocate to the company's headquarters in Arkansas next year as the company consolidate its corporate office. Can't say that word. The workers are reportedly from two of its largest business units, according to the Wall Street Journal. Tyson announced in October that it planned to close its office in Chicago, Downers Grove, Illinois, and Dakota Dunes, South Dakota. Those corporate employees work in the prepared food, beef, and pork division. About 1,000 employees total work in those locations, the company has said. Tyson has set deadlines of November 14th to decide if they would relocate. About 3/4 of the 500 employees in Tyson, South Dakota office told the company they wouldn't make the move. More than 90% of the employees in Tyson Chicago office had declined to relocate, people told the Journal. Nationwide, the meat company has about 120,000 employees, with about 114,000 of them working in production plants. And you can read about this in my description box again. Anyway, my time's running close. This is from DC News. Should you leave water dripping during a deep freeze? This is out of Denver, KDVR. An Arctic front moving in will drop temperatures across parts of the U.S. to dangerously low numbers over the next few days. It's important to take precautions to keep you and your home safe during extremely low temperatures, meaning there are ways to prepare for this cold snap and prevent disaster in happening. How to prep your home before the cold hits. Denver Water provided a list of things to do ahead of the cold moving in. Know where your home's water shutoff valve is, because if a pipe breaks, you'll need to turn it off the water to minimize damage. The valve can be found in the basement or crawl space in most single-family homes on a wall facing the street. Everyone in your household should know how to shut off the water. Water pipes vulnerable to the cold, such as those along exterior walls and in unheated basements, should be insulated. It says here, cabinet doors leading to the exposed pipe should be left open to allow household air to warm them. Keep the doors of the attic garage closed, since plumbing can be routed through the unheated space, leaving it to the cold. Turn on your faucet furthest from where the water enters the home. A very slow drip keeps the water molecules moving and reduces the risk of frozen pipes. You can also save the water dripping from the faucet or other uses by catching in a bucket. It's a good idea. When leaving your house or business for several days, keep your thermostat set above 65. And you can read the rest of this in the description box. My 20 minutes is almost up here. It says here, there'll be the last one I'm going to read to you. It says here, from Verified. Yes, warming up your car before driving in cold weather can damage the engine. I don't think so, but I don't know. We'll read on and see what's that about. Because I always think warming up your vehicle before driving it is better, less harm to your engine. I remember years ago I had this 1967 Ford Fairlane wagon, I think it was. It had a hot light and a cold light. When you first start the vehicle up, the cold light would come on, and you don't drive your car until that cold light goes off. You got the hot light for if it overheats. And it says here, winter is officially here, and winter storms are hitting many parts of the United States. In frigid temperature, it's common practice for many drivers to let their cars warm up for a few minutes before hitting the road. Some vehicles even have a preset feature that lets drivers set their car remotely. But a verified viewer wants to know if doing so can potentially hurt your car's engine. The question, can warming up your car before driving in cold weather damage the engine? And the source, let's see, down here, the answer, yes, warming up your car before driving cold weather can damage the engine. So it's true that warming up gas-powered vehicles before driving in cold weather can cause damage to the engine, according to the Firestone Complete Auto Care and Smart Motors Toyota, a dealership based in Madison, Wisconsin. If you're one of the many drivers who think it's important to turn on your car and let it set for a bit before hitting the road in wintry weather, you could be doing your engine more harm than good, Firestone says. I wonder why. Well, if your windows are all iced up, frosted, or fogged up, you need to warm it up, the heater, so it can, get all that fog and ice off your windshield. In a blog post on his website, Smart Motors Toyota says letting your car idle in cold temperature can shorten the engine life of your engine by stripping away oil from the engine piston and cylinder, two critical components that help your engine run. I don't know. Less oil means more friction and more wear and tear, and have a shorter life. Well, say if you're okay, this is my point. If you don't warm it up, you're going to rev the engine faster to drive off, and that's more wear and tear on the piston. And if you let it sit and idle to warm up, get that all chance to, smooth out through the piston and stuff, and then you can rev the engine to drive it. Makes more sense to me. I don't believe this crap here. I really don't. Anyway, you can read the rest of this in my description box. I'm about 3 minutes over my 20-minute limit. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and see you until next time. Later.